underground raves or wherever you go, a lot of time the rule is women are free.
Look, if you guys want to fucking leave, then just get out. Go ahead. You guys can leave. Go. I don't need you guys making little fucking faces at each other the past hour. If you guys want to leave, it's totally fine. Just fucking go. She's had no time to talk. We've given you guys so much fucking attention the entire show. At least be respectful for the last 5 minutes while she's saying her piece. If you need to really fucking leave, your little security guard needs to take you back to fucking LA. Kindly go. Go ahead.
Thank
Out you
you.
go.
Thank you for having us.
Afuera!
You can go too.
Me too?
Out you go. Go ahead.
What'd I do?
You were making faces at her. She's
just
trying to
smiled.
tell her story. I told you guys, we have 5 minutes left of the show. You
I
can't
just
just
have to leave.
be polite and listen to her without, oh my God, I can't believe we have another 5 minutes. Go ahead.
It's always so awkward when he kicks people. And he's actually been criticized before for not being strong enough when he kicks people out, I guess hesitating. Little do these people know, the people that are criticizing him are ES types or extroverted types. He's an introverted type, so, and he also tries to be fair at times, and he wants to justify his action afterwards, which some extroverted types perceive as being insecure, or they perceive it as being unconfident with their action, when really the introvert is just wanting to make sure they did the right thing. So, I mean, I see it a little differently. But it is definitely awkward when he kicks people.
I know, I'm trying to rush through.
I'm sorry, I just have to
probably
leave. It's
shaking.
already 11. That's
But
all.
I feel like also this is a long topic. Maybe it's for another episode for other people to talk about. But I feel like in LA specifically with the parties and stuff like
God
that,
damn,
dating
bro.
has been very, women are free for it to try and get women to come in. And a lot of my women
What?
friends don't even want to go
What?
out because there's been so much.
Dude,
I don't
Brian,
know.
he is just he's so black and white. And some people have thought he was an INTP. He is not an INTP. Definitely a J type. He's just very black and white the way he views things. He boxes things in really rigidly. And there's other reasons to believe he's not INTP too. I'm actually going to reveal his type in this video. So,
Are they gone?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, what's
I'm
their
in-
fucking film? Go ahead, just
definitely an
let me
introvert.
It's okay. No, it's okay. I think I got my point across. I feel like people who know what I'm talking about and feel
See
what
all
I'm
this thinking, see all this processing. Extroverts don't do as much as that. They're more in the moment. They're more in the situation. You can tell there's a lot going on, especially after he kicks someone. It's like people can tell he overthinks it a little bit. This is common for IN types. He's an IN for starters.
talking about, and
And it's very annoying too because ES types in particular will misinterpret this sort of behavior as lack of confidence or being hesitant or whatever. It's not. It's just the way INs operate. They want to make sure they made the correct action and that everything's they didn't screw, and so this second guessing of their actions is actually very common for INs. They're the most reflective types, so they want to make sure they made the right decision and they were fair to people, especially the NTs.
I feel like again that also is very influenced by this new bimbo culture.
What do you guys call that? Castling? What is it called?
No, I don't call it. I call that a
Frank
Sparta
Castle.
kick.
Oh, Sparta.
I call that a Sparta kick.
Sparta kick. I've been trying not to rage quit.
No, look.
Every time I leave early,
And
it's
people
really-
hate how he wants to talk about it. He wants to talk about it for several minutes and he dwells on it after he kicks someone instead of just moving on. It's pretty common IN behavior.
gave those two there so many passes because they were doing the little eye looks to each other that starting 2-3 hours into the fucking show. I should have checked it earlier, but it finally just got to the point. Then she started coming in and it's look, you guys haven't had much opportunity to speak during the show. I was trying to give you a couple minutes here at the end of the show. I was literally about to end the show
He's still
within
talking about
5
it.
minutes, but they just had to keep making their little fucking eyes to each other. It's just fucking annoying.
Dude,
And it's
calm down,
look,
Brian.
I know these podcasts go long, but I'll just say those two girls, that girl there reached out to us to come be on the show. They requested to be on the show. And it's I know we have long podcasts. You've done your research. You know that we go long. And actually tonight,
This is early.
This was going to be a relatively, if I wrapped up the show now, which I would have after that, what 5.5 hours I think we're at. That's compared at 5:50. That's a pretty short. Comparatively, sometimes we'll go 7.5.
The last time we were here, it was.
That's what I mean. Like, dude. So this is one of the ways you spot a J type, especially IJs, because their dominant process is introverted perception. They're the ones who are most capable of sitting for long periods of time, because they are entertained by their internal perception process. So one of the ways you spot a perceiving type, P type, is a difficulty in sitting still. So a lot of the times they're the ones that are diagnosed with ADHD, oftentimes just misdiagnosed ADHD actually, and they're just a perceiving type personality. So perceiving types, they fidget, they get bored, they want to move around, they want to do things. They can sit for a long period of time if they're working on something. So they can work sitting down, but if they're just sitting there listening, it's very difficult. And they'll get restless. I mean, I could do this for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I gotta anytime I've had a class that's like 4 hours, 3-4 hours, it's just miserable to me. And IJs have no problem with it a lot of the time.
And a half. It was
fucking
so long.
We left at like 12:35.
So
It was like 1. Yeah.
Was it 1?
Yeah, it was like
It
1
was
in the
more
morning.
late.
Most of the ones I've been on
It was-
have been
it was
like
late.
7
Yeah.
We
hours.
got pizza.
it's like, look,
Did I
it's
get-
already.
We did get
Yeah,
pizza. And we drank
pizza.
champagne.
Like,
We did drink
I
champagne.
mean, it's like
Inconsiderate to people, I think.
it's 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. What else you got?
Especially since he doesn't provide food. I mean, that's one of the strongest signs of someone who's low in agreeableness. It's very associated with thinking types. Is that sort of behavior, not really thinking about other people. Thinking types are more likely to be that way. It's not that thinking types don't think about others. Like, for example, I'm actually pretty high on that dimension. So I'm unusual for a thinking type in that way. So I do think about others a lot. But it's very common for thinking types to not really consider other people. One
Fucking
of the ways you
don't.
spot a thinking types, if a thinking type won't bring you a coffee when they bring coffee. They'll just be sipping on their own coffee. Jordan Peterson said something similar to that too, talking about low agreeableness types.
On like, give it another 5 minutes. Let these
No
girls
food
talk, and I'm
after
gonna wrap
7
up
hours?
the show.
Like, what
but
the-
like, it's rude to be in my face, fucking eyeing each other, doing that eye shit that girls do.
I know this shit makes me so nervous.
It's not rude to you, really. It's rude to her because she was
Yeah,
speaking.
exactly.
Well, it was
Yeah.
rude to her.
Yeah. It's
And-
rude to everybody
Yeah.
here.
And
Yeah.
but they were doing it the whole show too. So like, some people are going to try to paint it like just out of the blue, like they did
Fine,
one
yeah.
little thing, and I fucking
Exploded.
I snapped.
Yeah.
No, bro, they were
Dragon
doing
Ball
that the
Z
whole
tapes is
night. It
another
was
intuitive type
annoying,
clue.
and I just fucking gave them passes and shit. I probably should have checked it, but whatever. Also, it's just like, yo, it's
Specifically NT.
it's an opportunity to come be on the show. You can see, like, oh, people want to whine. Oh, I've got to sit there for a long time and have a conversation. It's like, bro, there's men who are fucking doing dangerous, dirty jobs
What's
day
up to
in,
do with
day
sitting
out,
for 7
fucking
hours?
9, 10 hours. Hold on. That are doing actually hard work, and you want to complain, oh, the show, I'm sitting in a penthouse apartment. It's
I mean, like, he makes valid points. I mean, yeah, men are kind of shit on a lot of the times nowadays, but that's kind of misapplied. So other clues that he's an intuitive type. So we've already determined introversion. We've determined thinking, and we've determined J. So he's an ITJ. How do we know he's an ISTJ or an INTJ? Well, one of the signs of an intuitive type, very strong sign of an intuitive type, is someone who can sit and talk about ideas for hours. So this guy wants to talk about concepts and ideas like pretty much the entire show. And you notice a lot of the sensing types maybe get a little bit tired of it. They want to move on to, more concrete stuff.
oh, it's so hard. Fucking
It is
they
that
sack up,
culture.
sack up, These
And he
people
has a ton of concepts memorized, like manosphere type concepts memorized. Has a ton of information when it comes to that kind of stuff.
entitled.
Basically, guys, he's an INTJ. He is officially typed by me as INTJ.
They've never done a hard day of work in their fucking life, and it's like, sack up.
They're young.
Thank you for
I'm
giving
like
me
the
this one
same
though. I
age as
actually
them.
really do appreciate it. I had a lot of people DM
He's
me
a
after
bitter
the last.
INTJ who's been hurt very deeply. This guy, Brian, has been hurt incredibly deeply by women. You can just tell he just exudes it every podcast. He has this bitterness and resentment. Really, I say the same thing to these guys. Every guy who's like this, I tell him the same thing. Stop dating these types of women. Because you notice he still has sort of a toxic taste in women. Like he goes for the, and why be trying to date women, that are half your age? I don't understand it. I mean, he makes that argument a lot. So does Andrew Tate. A lot of these guys do. I personally don't understand it. I don't think it's weird or creepy. That part I disagree with a lot of the women about. I don't think it's weird. I just don't get it. Like, I don't relate with it. I can't relate with a woman that's 18 years old a lot of the time. Now, there's exceptions. There's a couple women that are exceptions that I've met. They're very rare. They're very mature for their age. They've barely even dated. So there are rare exceptions, but for the most part, half your age, I just don't get it. Usually my cutoff's like 25.
Show and we're like, why didn't you talk much? Why weren't you jumping in and blah, blah, blah. But there was a lot going on last show. And I feel like I don't like cutting people off, which is why I usually just sit and observe what's going on. But I do really appreciate that. Thank you.
Hold on, this guy, somebody in the chat is just saying, race to Jesus. It's not an opportunity to be on your show and they don't get paid. Well, hold on. Let me ask you a question, sir. So I'm not making a comparison that I'm on this level, but if, for example, Joe Rogan, I'm not comparing myself to Joe Rogan, but just to articulate a point, if Joe Rogan invited me on his podcast, would that not be an opportunity? Would I request no, Joe Rogan, you have to...
Sorry to keep interrupting, but there's another sign of intuition. So with intuitive types, they anticipate what their opponent's argument's going to be. So Brian does this a lot. Like he constantly makes these clarifies, like, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, just so you don't try to argue against me. So an ISTJ is more, in sensing types in general, they almost have this just openness to whatever happens, whereas intuitive types almost try, especially NTs, will try to control the situation more and want to sort of guard against attacks as they are forming their argument. Whereas the sensing type tends to just kind of throw it out there and just see what happens, just, deal with whatever comes up.
Pay me $500 to go on your podcast because I don't receive any promotional or exposure benefit from being on your podcast. I'm not arguing that I'm on that level. I'm absolutely not. But there's scales to this.
That doesn't
absolutely.
even matter. They do. So you have your chat is full of simps. They probably got a good amount of subscribers just from tonight. That's money in their pockets.
That and the exposure enough, even like with the fashion light I'm starting, and I do things on the side like tooth gems, nails, hair, all of that. I've been able to get clientele and
What's up with this guy over here in the corner?
what-
Like, reminds me of Jasper from Twilight series. Just always looks like he's in pain or like has constipation or something.
what's it called?
This
Status.
new guy. I don't watch this podcast really, but occasionally I'll come across clips of it.
Something like that. Just from this podcast, the last time I was on, and I barely said a word.
Even that
like,
Allie
that
girl?
kind of exposure.
You got some
what's her name?
followers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Allie. Allie was popular on TikTok before she came on here, but now she's hanging out with what's his name? Huh?
She got a new
She got
car.
a
Yeah, she's a pink
She got
range.
she got a range.
Chanel, Louis, hanging out with
more than
not
worth
Adam
it.
22. What's
Dude.
the other one? Aaron or something?
A lot of, look, not every girl that comes on the show ends up blowing up, but like a lot of girls who've come on the show have had like opportunities from coming on. So like you made Allie, you're right, I shouldn't say it. Allie, hold on. Yeah, she had, like you said, some following before
Aiden
she
Ross,
came on the show.
That's his name.
Yeah, she's going on Aiding Ross, and the Nelk whatever bought her a pink truck or what was
Pink
it?
Range
Range
Rover.
Rover.
What is? How much money is that?
Damn.
A pink Range Rover?
Probably 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what do you
Nice.
mean?
And it's
Almost six
customized
figures.
paint.
It's customized
Hell
paint.
yeah, that shit is
Baseline like
expensive.
90, 100K.
And it wasn't an old one.
Look, I stand to benefit
If
too
anybody
from
wants
people
to
coming
give
on the
me-
show.
I'm kidding.
I stand to benefit too from people coming on the show. I wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for people willing to come on. I'm not saying that, I'm giving everything and I'm not getting anything. No, of course. But it's like,
Mutually beneficial.
It would also
mutually
be different if you were inviting us to come on rather than most of the time. From like what I've heard and what I know, that we all come to you to be on.
well, I mean,
and I feel like that's kind of makes it a little
I-
different too. Well, no,
I
that's
didn't-
what
I
I'm
didn't
saying.
either.
we do both.
Not in every case, but I'm
We
saying
do both.
a
So
lot of
we'll-
the time.
We do both. A lot.
So anyway, guys, Brian is an INTJ. He's an INTJ that has some bitterness. I think he needs to forgive women. He's got a lot of work to do. One of those types, though, doesn't seem very open to that idea, to the idea of sort of maybe changing who he goes for. I mean, maybe he is. I don't want to put words into his mouth, but I don't think this bitterness and which he clearly displays is healthy. It's something that I see very commonly in the manosphere and commonly these days among men, and they're justified in a lot of ways. So I'm not saying that they aren't, but it's not ever a healthy response to just dedicate your life to hating women and just having this bitterness. And I think in some ways it's good that we're pushing back a little bit against some of this debauchery that's going on. But I think in the end, this bitterness and resentment is not healthy, and I think you should just develop a better vetting system for women and go for better women. Basically, that's what it comes down to. So anyway, guys, Brian's an INTJ. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.